Hey there, it's me, Jerry Citarella, as you know, and this is April 2025, and what a month it has been, right? This is my monthly moment, my update for clients and other people about kind of what's going on for this month. I waited till the end just to see how it all played out, and you're probably expecting this to be really, really long. It's not going to be. I want to talk about just a couple things that are important, put things back in perspective, give you a little education on some pieces that just people don't really understand. And then we're going to get done with this hopefully in under 4 minutes. So let's go. So first, obviously this was the month, the big tariff month. Oh, and everything went crazy. The markets dropped and then they dropped again and then they recovered and it's been all over the place. So let me just explain something. And I like to relate the tariffs to COVID and what happened to the markets during COVID. Those are what I call event-driven downturns or crashes or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. News calls everything a crash because it's more dramatic. Sometimes it's a downturn, sometimes it's a correction, sometimes it's a pullback. It's always a crash, a big dramatic crash. But here's what you have to understand. Like COVID, when they said, you all have to stay inside, and basically the country shut down. What happened? The markets dropped immediately, about 36%. Now, we hadn't lost any money as an economy. We just got shut down. There was no time for us to be hurt financially by it ultimately, but it still dropped to that point because the markets adjust to where the economy might end up, and it always goes to the worst place, especially when it's something so emotional, and then people freak out and sell, and there's overselling, and it just makes it drop further than it should. Then what happened? COVID was a thing, obviously, but it ended up not being as bad and as long as we thought it was going to be, and there were some moments where we realized that, and then what happened? The market shot back up almost as fast as they came down, if not faster, and then we got actual returns that were above where it started and not too long of a time. What did we see this month? Tariffs. And it ended up, I think for us, better because it was let's tariff everything and let's tariff it dramatically. That was the announcement. What happened the next day? The markets came down. The day after that, they came down again. Now, the second day was a Friday. There's some stuff in there that I won't go into. But ultimately, what happened? We hadn't lost a dime as an economy because they were just put on. And the markets dropped dramatically based on the expectations of what they could do to us as an economy, because they are real. Now, we can debate the benefits and the pros and cons. Forget about all that. Let's just talk numbers. There is an economic effect of tariffs if they stay on. Short term, midterm, long term, whatever. But ultimately, where the markets went to, we hadn't seen any of that yet. So again, what was that? That was an event-driven dip, pullback, crash, call it what you want. And now what we're starting to see is some volatility through the bottom, a stabilization point. Every day it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Today there was a bunch of earnings. Tesla announced earnings. The Fed made some statements. It looks like a couple countries are now talking and things are getting a little better. So we had a good day today. So what does that mean? It means as soon as it starts to look a little better than it could be at its worst, add in the emotional selling, which brought the markets down probably lower where they needed to be, we're likely, I'll never say will, we're likely going to have a pretty substantial recovery. Now, there's some other news on the horizon and there's some other things, but I just want you to understand. Tariffs, markets drop. We hadn't lost a dime yet, right? It's just like if I invented something and I said, this is the best thing in the world ever, and I'm going to bring it to market in 6 months. When does my stock price go up if I'm a public company? It goes up when I make the announcement, not when I deliver the product. I haven't made a dime as a company yet, but the stock price goes up based on the expectations. So this works a lot like that. There's more to it than that. It's deeper than that, obviously, but I just want you to understand it. So now going back, February 7th this year, we made our portfolios effectively more conservative in anticipation of something like this, plus some economic factors. And honestly, I keep telling everybody this, and it's true. We had a lot of people calling us at that time wanting to get more aggressive. And anytime we get a whole bunch of people wanting to do something, we know it's about time to do the exact opposite. And I apologize for that, but that's just the way people react. Just like every day we see our lowest dips through this tariff, let's call it turmoil, about on the lowest day, when it's looking the worst, is when I get a number of calls with people saying, oh my gosh, I don't think I can take it. Do you think we should sell everything? That's when we get excited, because we know the general public, the uneducated, the inexperienced investors are selling out of fear, and that creates opportunities. This month, what are we in? April. April 7th of this month, coincidentally 7th to the 7th, we actually bought back in a little bit more aggressively. Look at your calendar, look at your stock chart, see where the markets were on that day. We got a little bit more aggressive again. The markets ran up. Since then, they're dipping around. But basically, we as investment advisors got you a little more conservative before it dipped, got you a little bit more aggressive on basically the day that is still the lowest day, meaning we sold a little high, we bought a little low, and we have some plans moving forward. Ultimately, most people are surprised when I talk to them because they think they're losing a ton of money, but most of the portfolios that are moderately invested are down, I don't know, 4% year to date, maybe 3%, and the markets, the stock market's down 11, 12, double digits. Our all stock portfolio that many people are in that are watching this probably, that's lost about 30% less than the stock market, and that's 100% in stocks. So we're expecting the recovery. We're hoping, we're anticipating, we're planning to have the recovery outperform on the way up as well. So I don't want to say don't worry, and I know there's a lot of political junk I'm not going to get into, but ultimately, this is something that happens on a regular basis. The amount of the downturn that we've had is equivalent to what we've seen a number of times over the last 10 years. It's not nearly as bad as what we went through in 2022 because it was stocks, bonds, and everything else. It went down more and it lasted longer. So we've been through this very, very recently in 22. There were some other downturns you haven't seen before that. 20, obviously, COVID. I don't want to say we have it, but we're doing okay. We're doing well. You're probably doing better than you think. Relax, unwind. We'll see how it plays out. If things change, we'll adjust. These are those periods of time that, test you and make you stay in. What I will tell you, very likely, based on history, is we're probably going to have a nice recovery at some point after this when things start to settle down a little bit, and we're going to do what we can to take advantage of those. So I went way longer than I thought. I just can't do it. I try. I apologize. It's 7 minutes. I'm done. Sorry, wasted 7 minutes of your day, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. There's the 7 number again. The 7th, we got you more conservative. The 7th, we got you a little more aggressive. I'm going to end this thing right about 7 minutes. Call if you have any questions. Thank you all for sticking in there. For the people who have called me, please don't feel bad calling. I get it, and feel free to call anytime, and I'll have a discussion with you and tell you what we're doing, what we're thinking, sometimes what we're hoping. There is some more news coming. I'm not going to go through it now, but in the next week or two, you might hear some really, really bad news on the news, and of course, they're going to make it bigger than it is. Just know that. We'll talk soon. Thank you all. Have an amazing day. We're almost into May, and may it be a good month. There you go. How's that? Talk to you soon.